Hi, this is Michael Q. Todd. I'm on Blab today with a great old friend from Athens, Georgia, who's actually in Costa Rica. Hi, Juliet. This is Juliet Easton.
Hi, Michael. It's great to be here.
Super exciting for me because I've known and been a conversant with Juliet on various types of social media, probably 6 or 7 years now. So this is really, really exciting to finally talk to her and capture her great energy and bring it to you as well. So I got a couple of questions for you, Juliet. We're going to keep this recording going for 20 or 30 minutes and take some questions from all the kind people who have joined us on Blab as well. So if you've got some questions for me or Juliet about Facebook or about loving life, please feel very free to ask, and we'll try and give you some kind of good answer. Juliet, why are you so wonderful? This is what we want to know. You're so positive and friendly and supportive of everybody every day. What is your secret? We all want to know your secret. Please give us your secret for loving your life so much.
I think a lot of it's choice, and I think a lot of it is working on yourself and processing stuff. Past 4 years, I've spent a lot of time doing inner work on myself and processing, I guess, what people would call, shadows stuff, like painful stuff from your past, all that. I think it's important to not suppress that stuff, but to deal with it and process it. Otherwise, you carry that into your interactions with other people. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm able to be positive so much, is because I do a lot of work on myself. So
that's great, and this is by way of meditation, I guess, and listening to other people. Like I myself, I do a lot of listening to podcasts and YouTube videos and audio books all the time. I'm listening to things like this. Hopefully what we're creating today is another thing for someone to listen to, maybe not necessarily even watch us, but just to listen. And I think if you've got this kind of thing going on, it greatly wears off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
People try it out for a day or two and think, there's all this positive stuff. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's not helping me. But I think you've got to go a little bit deeper. And as you say, you've been into this for quite a long time, and it does show. So what's 2 or 3 maybe quick tips for someone that they could actually do to to awaken this positivity inside themselves? What would be?
Well, I think, gratitude is really important, and appreciation. So being grateful for people in your life, for experiences in your life, looking at everything is happening for you, not to you, and looking for the lesson in it. So, everybody has bad stuff happen in their life. My life is not a bed of roses. I have a lot of challenges. No, I have a lot of challenges all the time. But what I do is I try to look for the lesson in them, and I try to look what the growing experience is in it for me and what I can take away from it. And I'm not afraid of my emotions. A lot of people are. They try to push them down. And so what ends up happening is they eat away at them. And I think it's really important, I know it's really important, that when you have different emotions that surface, to actually take the time out to process them. And if it's anger, find a way to channel that anger constructively. If it's some type of pain, to really process that, fully feel it, and not try to just push it away. And when you do that, then you're not carrying it around all the time. You're able to actually let it go. So I think, those are a couple things that are really important. Let me think of some other things.
Absolutely. This thing of forgiveness is huge for me. I got a great story to share with you and everyone from yesterday. I put it on my Facebook yesterday's wonderful story from New Zealand about how this guy was leading his daughter down the aisle at her wedding, and he stopped and looked around the audience and walked over and grabbed the hand of the guy that had been her stepfather for a while, and and made him walk down the aisle, the three of them together, and all with their arm around each other. So this has gone completely viral on New Zealand and other places. Had over 1 million likes on the Facebook. The photographer captured the photo of the guy reaching out his hand, and it's a wonderful story of forgiveness, and I think that will awaken a lot of people up to do the same thing at weddings. I know it already. It's the first time that's happened or anything, but just the photo of the guy, the determined look on it, and the stepfather crying, obviously, when he was invited up and everything. Very, very nice. And this thing there is forgiveness, and I think a lot of forgiveness for me is that nothing is about me. It's about other people. It's not about my life. It's not about myself. People go, I never forgive them, or I never forgive them. I never forgive you for that. But it's you're only really hurting yourself by pushing out those emotions, I think. So this is a huge one for me. And Juliet, you are just a couple of things. Like you're an amazing artist, and I think you're a guitarist and a bass player. And tell us a little bit about your amazing life.
Well, I don't play guitar. I used to play bass a lot. I don't play bass much anymore. I'm not really playing anything down here in Costa Rica because, airplane. So I started playing drums a couple years ago, and so that's my primary musical instrument right now. But my big thing is songwriting. I've written a lot of songs, and got one I'm working on editing right now that hopefully I'll be releasing out on a video on Facebook in a couple days.
Oh,
yeah, so I've been writing songs since I was maybe 8, and writing poetry since I was maybe around 10. And you had me do a blog post during my poetry book launch. That was like really, really cool.
Yeah, I think you were doing 100 designs in 100 days of different designs or something like this, or
oh yeah, create every day. Yeah,
create every day.
I did that for 200, a little over 200 days, like 230 something days, and then I started realizing
wow.
Yeah, and then I did a poem a day for 200 days before that. And then I decided I wanted to not try to focus on doing something every day like that and put my energy into some longer term projects that I kind of have to do little bits and pieces of to make them happen. So that's what I'm working on now.
And I'm just going to ask you a couple of things about Facebook now, because you're doing really great on Facebook, and a lot of us want to know about building a community somewhere. My big belief is that we don't have to build a community on Facebook necessarily. It could be Instagram or Pinterest or Twitter or anywhere, but we all got these thousands and tens of thousands, some of us, like social media, so-called followers or friends everywhere, but a lot of people, I think, are spreading themselves way too thin and not actually engaging with anyone anywhere. They feel there's sort of a need that they've got these different places and they need to post every day, and they're doing so much posting that they're not actually talking and building a community anywhere. And you're someone that I really know is very engaging, and so how did you learn about this, and so how are you using Facebook to do this, or any other social media? Like, just maybe teach us a little bit about what you're doing there, because I know you're doing it very well. So.
Yeah, Facebook is my playground. That's where I hang out, and a lot of it I think is because of the way Facebook is. It's easier to have more tribal engagement and really go into deep conversations with people on Facebook, I think, than any other social network, unless you're dealing with something like Blab with video, But Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, I don't go on very much at all. Once in a while I'll post. It's been months since I posted anything on Instagram or on Pinterest. Twitter, I've started being a little more active on since Blab came out and Periscope came out because of the tie-in with those two. But before, my approach to Twitter was basically I would just go on once in a while and follow people back that followed me. And I still don't really interact with people too much. If somebody reaches out and replies to me on Twitter, I reply back. It's just I don't feel like I can really go as deep with people and really developing relationships with them on those platforms as I can on Facebook. So that's why I love Facebook. So what I like to do on there is when I get on every day, I check my notifications first, and I've got I really do like how recently they changed where you can pick like a certain number of people to follow closely. I think is what they have called, so you can really pick the people you want to engage with more closely that way.
A lot of people don't know about this feature. You can go. Yeah. You can go to your friends list and you can do a multitude of things now. You can actually unfollow people and still keep them as friends, so you never see their posts. If you don't like their posts, but they might be family members or something, you can actually unfollow them and or workmates or something that you wouldn't dare unfriend. It would be suicidal. But you can unfollow them; they don't even know. And you can close friend people so that when they post, it comes up in their notifications.
Yeah.
And they've even got this really cool feature now that you can actually pop people's posts up to the top of your newsfeed. Did you know that one?
No, I didn't know about that.
Like you can see. I see your partner Michael here, so this is someone you might want to do that for. Whenever he's just come on the plan. Hi, Michael. You can pop Michael's posts up to the top of your newsfeed, so they're kind of pinned there when you go there, like his most recent posts. So that's another new sort of engagement functionality that Facebook have just recently added. So you might want to try that one, everyone, as well.
Yeah, I think that's the close friends thing I was talking about. There was like one day.
There's that one as well, but you can also get people's posts in the top of your newsfeed as well now. It's an extra.
Yeah, because I've noticed all the people that it was one day I logged on and it had this thing popped up, of these are the people that you're following most closely, and you can pick up to a certain number. So I did that, and I've noticed now whenever I log onto Facebook, when I do after I go through notifications, then I go to the news feed, and it'll have like, say, Rob Maggs is one of my really close friends. We interact a lot. So it'll have like Rob Maggs has 12 new posts, and they'll have them all there right in a row, and then same thing for everybody else having close friends. I like that. I think that's really cool.
I haven't filled my allocation up. That's probably why I'm still seeing the option to do that when I go to people's profiles. So I haven't actually done that myself. I don't really use Facebook that much. So much I build my community on Pinterest more. I'm more of a Pinterest guy. So I'm really a believer that you can't build community everywhere. You say you're really creative and you're an artist and everything. You're not even using Pinterest, see. So we're doing things very differently. Whereas I'm not really using Facebook for building a community or an engagement on any way. Pinterest, my place for that.
I think a big reason.
First feature I use, Michael's saying, that's true.
I think a big reason for that, for me, Michael, is that, I'm not really doing visual art right now. If I was, I'd be doing more stuff on Instagram and Pinterest. But the big project I'm working on right now is in the personal development niche. So,
tell us about that. What are you up to?
Well, it's I'm going to be launching it in January. It's called My Own Hero's Journey. So it's going to help people connect with their passion, their purpose, their mission, basically empower them to do what they're here to do. So it's going to be an online community that's going to be focused on personal development and helping people, figure those things out, remove the roadblocks that are getting in their way to doing those things, helping connect them with fellow travelers on their path to do those things. And then let's see, what else? There's some other ones. Helping create their mind map for what their vision and their dream looks like when it's done, and then creating the roadmap to get there, step-by-step roadmap to get there. So for that, that project would never happen if it weren't for the time I've spent on Facebook, because most of the people that are going to be involved with that project are people that I've been able to really develop deep relationships with on Facebook. And so that's made a huge difference.
Fantastic, Juliet. I'm so excited that you're doing this, because I think that a lot of people like yourself take kind of for granted what you've got, like that you can be so consistently giving and show genuine concern and empathy for so many of your friends on Facebook and social media in general. I think it's a real art and skill that not many of us have, but a lot of the people that have it take it for granted and don't take it to the next level and actually teach it to others in a structured way. So I'm really excited that you are doing this, and the kind of things that you're talking about are things that nearly all of us struggle with. So I think we've got to get great benefit from what you're doing, for sure. And you say you've helped build up the people that are going to be involved, build up your community with Facebook. Mm-hmm. In what ways have you done this? Is this just is it the fact that you've gone into more meaningful conversation on Facebook that most people do you think, or what?
Well, when I say build, I mean build the connections with the people that are actually going to be teaching some of the content in there. So I've been able to, by spending so much time on Facebook the past few years, it's enabled me to find the people who are really strong in different areas that can really help people in those different areas, and then also really vet them. It's not very easy to really read somebody well with a casual, just touching base here and there. But if you really pay attention to what people's posts are, not only their own personal posts, but how they interact in groups that you're in together, how they, how they interact in all the different places, then you can kind of see, are they really walking their talk, or are they just putting this face up there that they really are, pretending to be a positive person, but they're really not. Mm. They're really kind of have a lot of resentment and anger and all this kind of stuff that they let out in other places that are not their personal post on their profile, on their, their timeline. So
how many people?
I think, that, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, you say that you're paying attention to a large number of people. How many people do you think you can do this with?
Well, it's not like every day I engage with all those different people, but it's just kind of at different points in time. I'll spend more time engaging with this person, more time engaging with that person. And it's not like I have a logical strategy to it. I just kind of do it very organically with whatever happens to pop up in my newsfeed that day. And it's not just the person who's posting, it's also the people commenting. The main way that I add new friends on Facebook is through mutual friends post and seeing somebody else who they're commenting on there, and from what they say, I'm like, wow, I really resonate with that person. I really dig where they're coming from, so I'll send them a friend request.
Right.
And most of the time they accept it because we've just engaged with each other on a mutual friends thread. And I love it when people do that with me. It's kind of feels weird when I get a random friend request from somebody, even if we've got mutual friends, but I don't really, I've never interacted with them on anywhere, in any groups or in anybody's threads. Then, it doesn't resonate as much as when there's actually been some engagement right before the friend request happens.
I think
so that's what I try to do.
I think you've given out a really great tip to people there. About how to find the best people that are going to be the best people for you, is that pick a small number of people, maybe 20 or 30 people that you really get and you really resonate with, and then find out who their best friends are, and increase your kind of for want of a better word, your circle or your tribe or whatever you want to call it, like that. And I'm also a big believer that you've got to keep going back and refreshing this all the time. Like I've had 5,000 Facebook friends since mid-2008. It's over, we're getting on 7.5 years ago or something. I've had 5,000 Facebook friends, but I find I need to constantly be removing about 50 or 60 at least every week, maybe sometimes more, sometimes 200 a week, and renewing them, and constantly searching out for people just in the way that you've described now, that if you get into a good conversation on someone else's profile or something like that, then you've just given out the tip of your friend Rob Maggs. I see that he's just commented recently on your Facebook. I just went and checked it out now. So maybe Rob's a good person for me to become friends with. And this kind of thing I think is really important for people to be doing, and it's time well spent eventually. Because Facebook's not going away, and you constantly got to be building this up, because you can't, that's why I was asking how many people you can reach out to. Is I don't know, people say that you can have 150 people that you know about. Maybe if you're doing this most of the day, maybe you can increase that to 500 or something. But I think once you get over to 500, then it's pretty difficult unless you're really giving out exceptional value and you're a real master of this. Maybe you can go to 1,000 or something. Like there's some people that are real masters, but for this, the normal people, I think even 200 or 300 is sometimes a bit of a stretch. If you don't have the time and the skills to manage relationships and really go more deeply with people, it's quite a difficult thing. And you constantly got to be learning, I think, as well, on different ways of doing it. And one of my big learnings recently is that you have to combine all this with email. Have you got any thoughts about this, about emailing people? I don't know if you're doing any of that, but I think sometimes it needs to be combined with some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I should be actively doing email lists. I'm not really doing that. I have, get response, and I've got a few email lists on each of my sites, but I don't ever send messages out to them. I'm really not good at that. Which is not smart. I know I don't do everything correctly. I'm totally aware of this.
Yeah.
But
it's huge gap for most of us. I think that we haven't spent the time. A lot of us have got the makings of email lists, but we're not spending the time to send out something. And I think just a short 20-line message every 2 or 3 weeks with something of value. I would love to see that from you, and I would certainly subscribe to it and open it and read it. So there's one you've got for a start. So I think there's many more, and I think all of us could be doing this more, because unless you're using Facebook really well in the ways that we were talking about before, and close friending people or something, how do you sift through all the stuff to find something really good and meaningful from them without the email? I'm not sure. Maybe you've got to get into groups with them or something like this. I'm not sure about that. If anyone's got any questions for Juliet about how she's using Facebook or what she's up to, please let us know. How long are you in Costa Rica for?
Until November 6th.
So how come you've gone there to this kind of paradise? Can I even hear the birds squeaking away in the background? There's birds everywhere, isn't there, in Costa Rica?
There's not many birds where we are. We're on the beach, so it's lizards, and there's one bird we hear every day outside, and that's about it right here.
What's taking you there? Just somewhere to hang out? Or?
It's kind of a strange story. Michael and I are working on moving out to Vancouver, Washington, which, hold on a minute, Michael, it's echoing. Oh, you got headphones on? I don't know why it's echoing. Maybe it's just echoing on my end. All right, so we were trying to move out to Vancouver, Washington, which is really close to Portland. And so first we tried to buy a house, but my financing fell through. And then we tried to rent, but Michael didn't have any credit. He didn't have bad credit, he just didn't have any credit, so we couldn't rent. And so then we tried to buy an RV, but every RV that we would look at that would qualify for financing and would be new enough to get a service planned and was in our budget, that it was gone, as soon as I called about it. So we're just okay, we just need to get out of my house and go somewhere. And so I started looking at different places, and it was actually cheaper to rent off season here in Costa Rica than stay in the US, like in an Airbnb there. So that's what we did. We decided, and I've got a couple friends that, a few friends that live down here that we're not tight friends. They're Facebook friends, but I knew that, the Wi-Fi would be good enough since they do internet marketing stuff that I could come down here and still do my thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And we just made a decision like 24 hours later, we bought tickets. It was kind of crazy. And I can be a little too, trying to think of the right word. Spontaneous.
Sure.
That's maybe not the right word, but just, kind of doing things a little bit more quickly than I should. There is a good word for it, and I'm drawing a blank on it. But we bought the tickets for like a week later and had to pack up everything and get it moved into storage, which didn't happen. So I had to pay some friends to pack up the rest of our stuff, and it used up a lot of the money we had for doing fun things here, but it's okay. My house should be going on the market next week, and hopefully it will sell before we get back. So that's the plan, and then we can move.
Right.
So, yeah, so it was a weird reason we came here.
I'm sure you're having a wonderful time. It's somewhere where a lot of us
yeah.
always wanted to go, and I hope maybe you can find my good friend Kevin Peterson there. He's got a thing called the Eco Preservation Society in Costa Rica. He's been there for a long time, and he does social media internships for people who are interested in the environment and things in Costa Rica. So it's just it's a wonderful place. I've seen a lot of his photos and videos from there, and I think there's the diversity of species there is incredible, obviously, and we're very lucky to be there for even for a reasonably short time, and I hope I can get there too. So
yeah, I would love an introduction to him, Michael. We really haven't gone anywhere besides flying into San Jose and then coming here to Potrero on the beach, and so we want to pretty soon go and at least take the bus and take some excursions to some other places and check some of the places out. So that'd be cool.
So we just wind this up now, but. Just leave us with a couple more tips about like how people can use Facebook better, how people can and build the kind of community that you have. Any more thoughts about that, really, that you haven't shared already, or maybe just review a couple that you have for people that come on a bit later. And I'll get this transcribed in some way and make up a bit of a blog post with your tips so that we can. Well, thanks for the compliments about the green hair. Yeah, keep the compliments. Thanks, Michael. Anything you can share with us to finish off, Juliet?
Yeah, groups, Facebook groups, engage in groups. You'll find a lot of like-minded people by doing that. And I think the biggest thing for any social media is be real, be yourself. Don't try to do what other people are doing, and don't. If you're having a bad day, don't try to pretend that you're happy that day. Be yourself, and it's okay to share your downs as well as your ups with people, and it's okay to get support from your tribe instead of just supporting your tribe all the time. That's fine. People are attracted to people who are real, not people who are just always bright and sunshiny, unless the person is always bright and sunshiny. But even if you tend to have a positive take on your life and not, get in a negative headspace much, everybody has bad things that happen to them. People get sick. People have their pets die. People have family members who get in car wrecks, and it's okay to share those things and get support from people when you're going through rough spots in your life. It's fine to do that. It's important to be yourself and be real.
Great. That's great advice. I think people will gravitate to people who they know, like, and trust, and it's relatively easy to see through people in this increasingly open way that we're sharing with each other. So
Yeah.
it's great. It's just keep being yourself, everybody. Personally, I got an incredible life, and I haven't got sick. I don't have any family members having anything going wrong with them. And what was the other one? Car wrecks. What was the other thing?
Yeah.
Nothing. I can't.
Oh, good. That's great.
I'm looking back 2 or 3 years. I'm trying to think of something that could possibly have been a problem, but I can't. So I've been extremely lucky. So
that's wonderful.
Quickly we'll just quickly meet Michael on here as well. So hi, Michael. Wow, wonderful to have you here. Just quickly say hi before we stop the recording, and then we can speak.
I don't think the mic's hooked up.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, we can hear you. It's good. How did you guys meet?
What?
How did you guys meet?
By accident. At a poetry reading in Georgia.
Oh, poetry reading, of course. In Athens, right? We're getting a bit of echo from you, Michael, but we'll keep talking in a minute. We're going to shut the recording off. Thank you so much for coming on, both of you, but just stay here. And,
if you come closer, it's going to echo more.
I'll put together a nice